Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mastering Thought. I'm Dr. Mark Waller, and this is my trusty sidekick, Vanessa Moreno, who is the peer mentor of our online community, Thought Masters. And we have a new page for Thought Masters, so check it out. Scan the QR code, and it will take you to the page, and you can and check that out. So tonight, I have hopefully an interesting topic for everybody. And that topic is defining presence. And I have, as I always do, I've found a very unique way of defining it. But before we get into mine, how would you define presence, Vanessa?
I would say being in the moment
Okay.
and not letting any moment pass you by. Like being able to truly soak in everything that's happening around you and not thinking of the past, thinking of the future, thinking of what you have to go do. Like just being there, and that's the only place that you're at.
Okay. For some reason, when I got to looking at this, I got involved in the definition of the word.
I think your mic turned off.
What's that?
Your mic turned off for a little bit. It said definition, and then I didn't hear after that.
Oh, that's weird. So this is,
It cut off again. I don't think it likes the slides today.
no, I made some new slides and it muted me. Am I there?
Oh, okay. Yep, now you are.
Yeah, that's, let me just run through things a little bit and I'll have to double check when I go to a new slide. All right, so I went to the word Pneuma. Have you ever heard of that word? Pneuma?
No.
Well, you know it because in the wintertime, sometimes people get sick.
Pneumonia.
Exactly,
I knew that one.
exactly. And so pneuma means breath. In the Greek, it's breath. JD Coffee, welcome. Thanks for saying hi. I'll put that up here. There. JD, remind me where you are so we can share that with everybody. All right, so now you're going to see why I went there and what this means. And normally I don't have a lot of slides and stuff for this, but in this case I made some slides. That's why my mic was muted because duh.
Okay.
All right, so in the New Testament, the word spirit is actually the Greek word pneuma, which means breath. And I did a lot of research on this, and I believe what it means is being. So now, if you can believe this, there's a major religion in the world that used to translate the word pneuma as ghost. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, so that actually makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, but as you're going to see, the pneuma does not mean ghost or anything like that. It means being. So let me take this one more step here.
I can't hear you for saying something.
Slide, I get muted. I'm sorry. Okay. So these four words are critical in understanding the word presence. So there's pneuma. Pneuma is the fact of animation. It means something is alive. Something is happening. And so it's a state of being.
Oh, okay.
In other words, it's something that is. How does that grab you? How does that strike you?
That makes sense. And I guess I'm still kind of stuck on the Holy Ghost thing because I'm thinking of like ghost. Maybe it was interpreted as being because Holy Ghost is a being. So,
Well, okay, so what you just said triggered a thought. And so let me go back to this and make sure I don't mute my mic. Okay, I'm still on. So in this case, spirit, the Greek word pneuma is translated as spirit, but it doesn't mean an entity.
okay, I see what you mean now.
And so the folklore around the word pneuma has been that it is an entity.
Mm.
JD, you're in Southern California. Thank you. And and of course, ghost is an entity. We think of a ghost as being an
Okay.
entity. All right, so let me go through these and see if any of this makes sense. And if they don't, stop me dead in my tracks.
Okay.
All right, so we have pneuma, which is basically the fact of animation, or in other words, something is being. It has a quality of being. Experience, which we're not going to talk about too much tonight, is the qualitative unfolding of that animation. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just processing it all right now. I'm like, I'll develop my questions after. I'm trying to intake everything.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then presence is the immediacy of the experience of being.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, when we're present, we're experiencing something that is.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And let me go to the fourth one here. Awareness is the capacity in which experience appears.
Mm.
So, in other words, experience and awareness are two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
You can be aware of experience, but in order for you to be aware, there has to be an experience to be aware of.
Okay. So they play on
So,
each other.
so one presupposes the other.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have this definition of presence. Presence is the experience of being.
Okay.
Okay. So in other words, pneuma,
Mm-hmm.
when we're present, we experience pneuma, the breath of life, the living essence of the present moment is the breath of life.
That's beautiful.
If there was no breath of life, there would be no present moment.
We would be dead.
Everything would be dead, yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
You muted again.
I muted again because that's a new slide. Yeah. You can tell I've been in a rut, so I haven't changed these slides in a long, long time, and I haven't run into this problem.
That's
So,
okay. We don't judge you. Maybe just a little. I'm kidding. No, we don't.
all right. So let's go to this again. All right. So let me explain this. Now, maybe this gets us into the weeds. We'll see. So these are all expressions of consciousness. And we don't need to define consciousness right now, but these are all aspects of the same thing. And that thing is consciousness. Okay, so pneuma is consciousness in motion, the alive, dynamic animation that makes experience responsive and feel as vitality. Presence is consciousness felt, the raw immediacy and here now unfolding of that experience. Awareness is consciousness knowing, the open capacity that registers and knows the animated immediacy without acting. So, in other words, awareness is just a knowing of the experience of being.
Okay. The knowing. I'm tracking slightly.
Okay? So, consciousness animates as pneuma, which is, being, appears as presence and knows itself as awareness. So when we're present, we're basically paying attention to nothing but what is.
No assumptions, no overthinking, just whatever's in front of you.
Right. And so, but I think the point I'm trying to make here, and I'm doing a very poor job, is the idea of presence can't be understood without the concept of pneuma.
Okay.
Because pneuma is the divine expression of each moment.
Hmm.
Without an expression, there is no moment. And presence,
Expression. Uh-huh.
go ahead.
So expression is the physical nature to it, like what is happening. No, that's experience.
So when we're aware of the experience of presence. We're experiencing presence.
Mm-hmm.
What presence is being with the expression of being itself.
Okay.
In other words, think about it this way. Your experience of being is just this intimate awareness that's right here, and the experience of being a person is a thin veil over that awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we think that the experience of being a person is all there is.
Yeah.
But in order to experience presence, that person has to disappear to get to the essence of being.
So is it kind of like having that outside perspective? It's like whenever we do thought watching, of like watching that thought, and it's not that
Right.
you're physically watching that thought, it's just whenever, and the next thought that comes to mind, whenever you think about having that thought, you're getting outside of yourself, not physically, but like that idea of you're placing yourself in another realm. Am I tracking?
Yeah, let me give you the experience of it. I'll take you through an exercise. So let's do this. You know how to watch your thoughts, right?
Yes.
And by the way, if you're listening to this and you have any questions and you're wondering, did I, smoke mushrooms this afternoon? No, I didn't. But okay, so what I'd like you to do is just notice the next thought. And when you notice the next thought, what happens to the voice in your head?
It stops thinking because
Right.
now I'm observing that thought.
Okay, so what's left? When that thought goes away, what's left?
Just me thinking about having that thought.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. When the thought goes away, try it
Oh,
again.
okay.
Just wait for the next thought. And when you notice it goes away, what's left when that thought goes away?
That's it. There's nothing else.
That's presence. That
Oh, so
nothing,
there's something.
that no thing is presence. Okay, so let's take it a step further. Go ahead.
Okay. Because I was going to say, it feels so intentional, though. Like to still have that kind of presence, I still have to be intentional in
Oh,
having that presence.
that's true, and we're going to address that. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to repeat your name to yourself silently in your head and get the feeling of me that goes with your name. Now, every now and then, when you're repeating your name, I want you to substitute Mark for Vanessa. And you will notice when you say I am Mark instead of I am Vanessa, the feeling of me goes away, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm like,
Okay,
oh, that's not my name.
that's right. Okay, so what I want you to do then is repeat your name in your head, I am Vanessa, and get that feeling
Okay.
of me that goes with your name. Let me
Okay.
know when you get the feeling of me.
I got it the first time I said it. Because I'm
Okay,
an only child and it's always been about me.
okay, there you go. All right, so now what I want you to do is do it again, and when you get that feeling of me, look at it like it's a thought, and tell me what happens to the feeling of me.
The joy ends.
The joy ends. Oh my God.
It feels different. Like,
What
oh, okay.
what happens to the feeling of me when you look at it like you would a thought?
just goes away.
What's left?
Nothing.
That's presence. No thing.
No thing.
Nothing.
Ah, no thing. Okay, that's intriguing. I kind of see where this
Ri-
is going.
Right. So the essence of being is the only thing that cannot be located.
Essence of being.
I could see people,
This is
people
way
are,
over my head.
well, you can't locate that nothing, can you?
No.
It has no location. All that is being. It's a sense of being, but you can't
Okay.
locate it.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Crazy.
beyond the experience of
Mm-hmm.
self. It's beyond the experience. So that's presence.
Hmm.
Presence is the experience of consciousness itself, right? Because there's nothing but the expression of consciousness. So let's go back to
Mm-hmm.
this. Now maybe this
Yeah,
makes
I needed
sense.
that.
So pneuma or spirit is consciousness in motion. Presence is consciousness felt. And awareness is consciousness knowing.
Ah, okay.
And then consciousness animates as pneuma, appears as presence, and knows itself as awareness. And that actually is the secret of life.
Hmm.
Because the secret of life, what life is consciousness knowing itself.
Hmm.
Eloina,
Like,
welcome.
hi, Alina.
She
So,
says, I am
I'm
listening
sorry.
and feeling like I'm grasping it. Awesome. Somebody's grasping it. Once you
Yay. Would
catch
you
the
like to come
thought,
on, Alina?
once you catch the thought, you just are, but there's actually no you that's
Hmm.
catching the thought. Because what you learn is the you that's catching the thought is also a construct.
So, okay, maybe I think it's my ego that's blocking a lot of this because some of this is going over my head, but maybe it's the ego, which is what we talked about last week, and that's a shameless plug. If you guys want to watch that video, go ahead and watch that, and it'll make sense of what I'm saying. But I don't know. I'm wondering, like, is that an ego thing?
So the ego wants to be a person who's experiencing presence.
Okay, I answered my own. Okay, cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the essence of presence is being present with being itself. And being itself has no personality, it has no identity, it's undifferentiated.
But we give it meaning.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I process things so slowly, so it's just my gears are still going.
So Eloina says, aha, I was thinking as I was typing that this is not me. This is more like my environment. You're getting it. It's like the background in a,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. So now, what does this mean about presence? What this means about
Yeah.
presence is that you can't do presence.
You could only experience presence.
Yes, but you can't do presence. So when somebody tells you
Awesome.
become present, that's like saying be spontaneous.
Oh, it's like to get into action. It's just this. It's considered more so a state of being, correct?
Yes, yes, that's
Okay.
what pneuma is a state of
Oh,
being.
okay.
And that's what
Yeah.
the scripture translate as spirit, as if it's an entity. And
Okay.
that all comes from the Holy Trinity, which was developed in the 3rd century, which is another story and is completely bogus. But anyway,
The Trinity is not bogus, but okay, continue.
no, it was invented to settle an argument. So
So,
you can
like,
read it online.
Father, Father, Son, Holy Spirit aren't real. Is that what you're saying? Because they're real.
Uh, no, they're not. They're not real. There was a big argument over whether Jesus was an actual human being or a divine being. And they settled it by creating the Holy Trinity. And then it became
Okay.
part of the church doctrine, and that's where it came from.
Okay. I respectfully disagree, but continue.
That's okay. I'm glad you're willing to say that. That's great. All right. So let me see. Let me bring something up that didn't mute me. All right. So clarity rests in presence. Drama seduces the restless mind. Presence extinguishes drama, and drama devours presence. Now, where does this come from? Where this comes from is, I think it's Romans 8:5, where Paul says, those who are spiritually minded mind the things of the Spirit, and those who are fleshly minded mind the things of this world. What he's saying is, basically, those who those who are present mind the essence of life, the divine expression. Those who are superficial are addicted to drama.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's talking about presence, becoming present. Now, this is my little sermon tonight. I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
So what's translated as spirit is actually presence.
Presence. Okay.
The pure essence of being.
Cool.
And so when you notice a thought, the thought disappears, you become present.
Mm-hmm.
When you notice the personality arise, the observer also disappears.
Yeah.
Halloween is telling me to preach. Oh my God. So when both the thought, the mental activity, and the person turns out to be mental activity too, when that disappears, all that's left is presence, the pure essence of being.
The pure essence of being. Okay.
So that's why becoming present is so difficult, because when you're instructed to become present, you have to create a person who's trying to become present. It's all part of mental gymnastics.
That's a good way to put it.
So the best way to become present is to notice what takes you out of presence.
What takes you out of presence?
What takes you
Which
out?
can be our egos.
Exactly.
Okay, because we want to just react instead of respond and listen
Right. And
carefully.
that's excellent. So what does the ego want to do? The ego wants to accomplish presence.
Accomplish presence. Okay.
Presence can't be accomplished.
It's almost like it's task oriented.
Yes.
Okay. I see where this is going.
Becoming presence doesn't require a task. That's why that's why Paul says in 2 Corinthians 10:4, hold in captivity every thought and every mental thing that exalted itself against presence, because we're in love with our thinking.
Very
And then we're in,
egotistical.
huh?
Just very egotistical.
Well, that's right. And then we're in love with our ego.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
things keep
So
us.
true.
So the more we discover the world of thought and how it operates, and the world of the ego personality and how it operates, the more access we get to presence, because we know those things. When we're doing ego and thinking, there's no possibility we can be present in those moments.
Okay. I think I've picked up what you've put down now.
Yeah, I made it really complicated, didn't I?
That's okay. I just overthink things too, so my ego is getting the best of me.
Well, It's an unusual concept. The other thing that I've been thinking about lately is that all of this comes from the fact that we're stuck in our left hemispheres,
Hmm.
in
Oh,
the
I think it
verbal
has all to
analytical
do with
part
that.
of our brains.
Yeah, that's all I operate from.
Right.
So it's hard. And if you can remind us again, so left is obviously the analytical, logical. What is the right side? Hemisphere, I mean.
The right side is more holistic. It looks at the big picture. It creates the background from which the analysis, is in the foreground. There's an interesting experience you can do, and that is uh, you can find out if you're right eye or left eye dominant,
Hmm.
and then each eye has a mind's eye. And
Mind.
I'll have to look this up. But so if you go like this and look through that hole, which eye do you look through? Go ahead and try
Oh,
it.
I need like
Just
I
put
need
up.
glasses though, so it's kind of hard.
Doesn't
Should I
matter.
without?
No,
Okay.
no, doesn't
So like
matter. Okay, so you just put it over your left. Which eye is the dominant eye?
the right eye, but I have an astigmatism in my left.
Okay, so you just went immediately. Well, you might be reversed. I don't know if your camera's reversed.
Oh, it's yeah.
So if you go like this
Uh-huh.
and you close one eye and close the other eye, you will see which eye you're actually looking through that hole with. That is your dominant eye.
That's my right one.
Okay, so the dominant eye has a mind's eye, and the non-dominant eye has a mind's eye as well. They're actually two different pictures that get combined in the brain.
Oh, that's cool.
And you will find that most people are dominant in the same way. Some left-handers are dominant in the right brain instead of the left brain.
Mhm.
But the non-dominant hemisphere is creating the background of life.
Background of life.
And the dominant mind's eye is creating the foreground. And those two things get combined in the brain. It's kind of an interesting experience.
Wow, that is intriguing.
If anybody's interested in this, let me know, and I'll do the research and find out where I found that information. I'll share it with you. And actually, if you have any questions on this, please feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll address them. Eloina, it's good to see you tonight. We want to have you on again real soon. You're one of our stars.
You're always welcome, Eloina.
The three of us will get on here, and who knows where we're going to
Oh,
go.
nice. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I would love that.
So, in other words, we're given a choice. The world of the ego is the world of drama,
Hmm.
and the world of pneuma, of spirit, is the world of essence of each moment.
Hmm.
And it really depends on where our focus is and how we live our lives.
And it's funny because like ego and presence can't work hand in hand because if you're an ego, you cannot be
Right,
present,
right,
which is like, whoa. Yeah,
right.
there's no way.
So what I've found over the years is in terms of presence, and there's lots of very famous people on the internet that are preaching presence. Well, let's just become present and so forth. No, I think the only thing you can do is identify those things that take you away from presence.
Yeah,
And what takes you away from presence is the whole world of the ego and thought.
absolutely.
And when you become an expert on how that works and how it operates, and as you discovered just a few minutes ago, when you notice it, it immediately fades into the background and disappears, and what's left is presence.
Yeah.
And then the experience of presence can begin at that point, but it's not volitional. It can't be done through willpower. And so you can't become present. What you
Yeah.
can do is focus on the things that take you away from presence And when you focus on those things, they disappear, and what's left is presence.
Which is kind of comes to the next thought of like, which is why it's so important to really not reflect that much, but to at least reflect on maybe like childhood patterns or habits that we have so that we can understand like what is taking me away from presence. And
Right.
there's like obviously the ego, but there's a lot more, I feel like, that takes us away from that state of being.
Well, one of the things that takes us away that we mentioned briefly is drama.
Yeah.
So when you're focused on, and actually the scripture goes on in Romans and talks about, when you're carnally minded, it's death.
Mm-hmm.
And so when your mind is stuck in the drama, you're basically dead. There's no spiritual life there.
Yeah. When your mind is in thinking of worldly things
That's right.
instead. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I was thinking about, a topic for tonight, which ties into this, is the idea of a psyop. What is a psyop? Psyop means psychological operation. Well, we are all being subjected to psychological operations all the time. And you know it when you're experiencing, when you're scrolling through social media, when you have an emotional reaction to a post, you've been subjected to a psyop.
Psychological operation.
And you
Yeah. And
notice
just,
that when
yeah.
you see 10 people you disagree with, and you actually have hatred beginning to build, and then all of a sudden there's a post about how a snow leopard brought their little baby to the back door, and
Yeah.
this is all manipulation. We're being constantly
Mm-hmm.
manipulated.
There's just such an inundation of information. Like our brains are not meant to process this much information.
So Eloine is asking the question, wouldn't focusing on things that take away from presence keep us unfocused, not present? The way you're asking the question, that would be correct, except what we're doing is focusing on those things as objects, not as experiences. We're not focusing on them in order to experience them. We're focusing on, in other words, you have a choice. You can either observe your mental activity or participate in it.
Ooh, observe or participate.
So when you
It's like,
do moment
okay.
mindfulness, you're training yourself to observe your mental activity, not to participate in it.
And that's really the part of the exercise. You're just observe. You're just observing those thoughts. You're done. Like as soon as you observe that, that's it. I remember like that was the diagram you showed us. Like as soon as you
Right.
observe that thought, you're done. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about how it relates to your past, your childhood trauma, or your childhood patterns. Like it's just that. So I love how you said that we make it, it's like you make your thoughts into a tangible object that you can't experience an object. You can see it,
Right.
but it's just there. That's it. That's all there is to it.
So
I love
back to
that.
what Eloina asked, she said, wouldn't focusing on those things take away? It's not focusing in the sense of participating, it's focusing as if they're objects to be observed and not owned. She says she got it. Yes. I can totally understand why she would ask that question. That makes perfect
Oh yeah,
sense.
it's valid.
Right.
Great question, Alina.
So it's like the same thing with drama. You focus on drama, you're labeling, oh, that's drama. I see what that is, instead of being drawn into the feelings of the drama and
Like, why
choosing
am I thinking
sides.
this?
Right.
Yeah. Ooh,
Exactly.
okay. Which, I'm even thinking about like in my own life, like people that I've seen just engage in so much family drama or just drama in general. Like there's just this draw and pull to experience more drama, that they cannot be aware of themselves and really enter that presence
Mm-hmm.
stage because they're so stuck in ego and so stuck on, um, I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's such a focus on maybe experiences. Well, not maybe. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that even made sense. Scratch that. Never mind. I'm
Well,
processing a
no, I
lot.
understand what you're saying because you can't even have a conversation with them unless it revolves
Yes.
around drama.
Yes, that's what I meant. Okay.
And drama doesn't just mean the dramatic aspect of life. It means forming coalitions and taking sides and having a position and expressing an opinion. All the things about ego that we talked about in our last long form recording, which by the way was posted on Thoughtmaster's online community, and the recording that we did this week called "Navigating Using Mindfulness to Navigate Relationship." That raw video is posted on Thoughtmasters now. If you want to get a preview of what's coming up, it turned out really well, I thought. Did you take a peek at it?
I have not. I didn't know that the video was up yet.
I always post them as soon as we record them.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to take a little longer. I'll go ahead and
As,
watch it.
just so everybody knows that's listening, when we record our long form videos for the Mastering Thought YouTube channel, that raw video recording, before it goes to the editor, it goes on Thoughtmasters for the community to get a preview of.
Okay, you get to see
And
all the raw bloopers and awkward laughs and funny noises.
what turns out on YouTube to be maybe 20 or 30 minutes is probably 40 minutes or so on Thoughtmasters. And even though it's not polished, all of our notes appear on the screen. Everything we're looking at, that all the bullet points appear. So it's a whole different experience. And I'd encourage you to go over to look at it. By the way, as long as I'm bringing that up, if you scan the QR code, it will take you to the Thoughtmasters information, and we'd love to have you join us. So we have a few more minutes. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask about presence? I feel like my ideas tonight were a little awkward, and I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. We're going to track along. I'm just happy you had the slides. So if anybody is watching this, obviously after this live stream, they'll be able to go back to that slide of, okay, I need to process that. Because I know I'm going to do that because I was a little tripped up on what experience equals and what Pneuma equals. Yeah, it's just, I think it's really wordy. Wordy's not bad. It's just, I know for myself as a visual learner, I need to see it in order to understand it. And like you can keep talking to me, but I'm not an auditory learner. So it's just a little harder. But if you're an auditory learner, I know they're caught up to speed right now.
Well, one of the things that was in the back of my mind when I approached this, and the reason I did this, was I'm convinced that Paul was talking about how to be present and not some overarching other thing regarding spirits and ghosts and things like that. And so if you go to the essence of the word pneuma, it brings it all into focus. And then when you contrast that with presence, I think it makes more sense. But, I've been at this for a while, and sometimes I stumble and fall. So does anybody have any questions before we wrap up tonight? We will be back next Thursday at 6:15 with perhaps a more comfortable topic. What did you get anything out of this, Vanessa, at all?
For the most part, I did. I think I'm just still tripped up on some of those words. And just like their correlation to the other, like how one presupposes the other. But I got the gist of it, especially when you said it's not about being present. It's not something, or no, it's not about doing presence. It's being, it's a state. And so that really was my takeaway. Like, okay, it's not something that I have to strive toward. It's just learning to observe, like, what is preventing me from achieving that sense of presence, that peace. And a lot of it, it's always going to go back to the same thing, but we are still in our heads. So I think that's what it goes back to as well.
So if you have any questions or comments and you can't get them in right now, put them. This will be posted. Don't be so hard on yourself. I like analyzing, especially when I grasp it. Yeah, I got to say, Eloise has been at this for a long time, and she's had numerous breakthroughs.
That's awesome.
And, her story is amazing, and she is amazing. And where she's come in her life is amazing. And I'm really privileged to have her part of our community. JD says, good live stream. Thank you, JD. I really appreciate it. We're all just trying to have fun and learn something here. And to have you and Eloise make a contribution is really meaningful for both of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Here's
guys.
somebody new. My presence get interrupted by thoughts by thousands of times a day. So should I disinterested by this rest? Okay, so Simon, contact me and or put a comment below with your email address or something, and I will give you some links to how to overcome the thoughts. Our channel here is devoted to a practice called moment mindfulness that results in an awakening and a disidentification from the voice in your head. And so if you will kind of plug in, we will give you the information you need to learn how to do that. And Eloise, before you bug out, you might make a comment to Simon about how the thought watching has worked for you and what benefit you got from it. If you're still on there, we'll just pause for a second and wait. So you're right. Presence gets interrupted by thoughts thousands of times a day, but after you awaken, it does not.
Yeah.
That your relationship to those thoughts completely changes, and that is what the central core of Mastering Thought YouTube channel is all about, and our online community. On our online community, we help people learn these principles, and when they learn them, it's a knowing. Oh, he says, I've devoured all your videos. Simon, if I can help you, in any way, climb this mountain, let me know, because we want to do this one person at a time. So you're part of the group. Just let us know how we can help you. Any questions, any challenges you've got with the work, please let me know. I appreciate so much that you've devoured our videos because we work really hard. He says, still holding on to some awakening opportunity. Okay. Just let us know. Thanks so much for being here. All right. I think that's going to do it tonight. Anything in closing, Vanessa?
This also just wrapping up our video, but also to what Simon said. That sounds funny. Simon said, I bet Simon gets that a lot. I'm sorry, Simon. But I just realized that when I said it. But there's so much power in acknowledging, like, okay, Simon was doing something that I don't even think he realized, but he was being aware of his own awareness. Like he wants to be better. He wants to do better. And that's what this channel is about. So this is a channel for those of us who just are hungry for growth, who are hungry to not be in the same predicament that we were yesterday, that we were last year, that we were a minute ago. Like we want to continuously change and evolve. And so it's beautiful that people like Simon are coming on here and are just being vulnerable with their growth and being vulnerable with the fact of like, hey, I don't have it all figured out, but can you help me? And this is what our channel is for. Yes, we talk about different topics, but what we're really wanting out of this is to help you master your thoughts before they master you. Because I think we've all been there before where we're overthinking, just hating life, like, why can't I get out of this rut? And a lot of times it's just, we need somebody else to come along and hold our hand, which is completely okay. And to help us understand, like, hey, like you don't have to have it all together. So thank you, Simon, for that comment.
So in closing, Eloise says, I was awakened years ago, and I taught her thought watching years ago, and life has never been the same. I am free, and absolutely correct.
Okay.
All right, if you want to be free, join us, and we'll be back next Thursday at 6:15. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.